What up, YouTube? So we're gonna be working on part 5 of the Honda Civic K24 TSX swap, and today we're gonna be working on getting the car started. So these are the main components you're gonna need to get the car started, as far as engine harness, charge harness, fuel system, and then we have our hondata. So to start with, is ECU wise, hondata is the best way to kind of get everything as far as check engine lights of stuff like aftermarket stuff, as far as like out air control valve deletes, and some sensors that may be deleted on the JDM motors, like the VTEC pressure switch, or if you're trying to convert to another different signal on the speed sensor. All that comes into hand with the hondata, but it's not necessary if you have a complete swap from the RSX. So if you have the actual stock ECU and you have the immobilizer and key from the your own swap, you can check out my videos and you'll see how to wire that up. I believe it's hopefully in the last 10 videos I did that video, but there's two different ways. So there's a hondata, you can use your stock ECU with the immobilizer and key if you have that, or you can get a Type R ECU. And the Type R ECU will run any motor. I don't care what swap you have, if it's an EP3, K24, it'll start and run. I won't probably drive the best, but it will start and drive the car for temporary setup, and then you can hondata it later. So yeah, that's taken care of. Now we also have our fuel system, so I like to go with the inline just to make it look cleaner and delete the factory one. And then I got my kit from eBay. It's just a fuel pressure regulator. And then I like to also upgrade. You don't have to, but to get the power out of the K series, you want to upgrade the fuel pump. So this is a 255 pump right here, just to make sure that this one could possibly fail, just because we're trying to push more pressure out of it, out of the stock one. So most of the time they do fail, or you don't get the full performance out of it. So we're upgrading that. So with this and the regulator, and it actually comes with some lines as well, but I actually have to have some extra line to extend one, so it works good. This whole setup right here is about maybe 250 bucks or whatever, depending on what setup you actually go with, but I just went with the basic. This is going to actually be the conversion harness that you can use to convert the speedometer and basically bring the engine to the speedometer for the stock car. So this is a conversion harness that K-Tune made. You can also check out my other videos. I've actually did the 02 to 04 and 05, 06 wiring if you just want to try it out yourself. So this is just going to make it a little easier for us. So we're going to be installing that, and then we have the engine harness. So you got fuel, you got engine harness, you got conversion harness, and then you got hondata or your stock ECU, or Type R ECU, which is the PRC. And also, when you're getting a Type R ECU, make sure it's not the J01. You want to look at, I think you want to get the 023 or something. There's certain ones that don't work as well, so make sure you do your homework on that. You want to get the Type R ECU from the Honda Integra, which is the Type R 02 to 04. Or you can get the CTR one, which is a PRD, which is 02 to 05, I believe. So that works as well. So right now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking out the axle. And we got the Type S axle. I got that out of the car that I just bought, and we're gonna swap that out real fast so we can get this thing on the ground as well. And hopefully about time at the end of this video, we'll go ahead and get this car started. So we're gonna take that out first, get this thing on the ground, and then we'll start installing our engine harness first, running that through, maybe showing you guys how to do that, if you guys kind of get confused of how to actually run it. It's really simple. You just really start with maybe like the coil packs or the fuel injectors, and then work your way through, but I'll show you guys that later. So right now we'll go ahead and start, and then we'll come back and show you guys what I did. All Alright, so we're back now and we got our axle in and our RSX Type S half shaft installed now. So it was about 1 inch off from the TSX one, so this one is a little longer. It won't work for our K-swap car. So now that we got that finished, we can put it on the ground, but we're still gonna have to do the exhaust actually later. So right now we're just gonna go ahead and skip over to the fuel system. So right now I went ahead and started mocking up the lines and getting everything ready for the regulator. And then we got the fuel pump as well. So you can see we got our new Walbro installed right now, so that'll be ready to drop back into the tank, and we should have good fuel pressure from that. And then also I went ahead and took off the little sensor that went right here, because we're going to be installing the temperature sensor on here. And then I took off the little smog evap right here, just deleted that. And I also deleted this little solenoid right here, so I'm gonna have to put a little blocker right here for that was right there. And then I took off the charge harness, so that was the reason why I took off the manifold. So right now I'm gonna put on the RSX charge harness and engine harness next, and then the rest of the stuff like this I'll be taking off and putting a blocker on there when I put the temperature sensor on with the adapter. And then I gotta finish up just putting on the fuel line, and that'll be basically almost ready to get to start, but we still gotta put the charge harness connector together, and then I have to connect the charge harness to the fuse box, and then the starter to the charge harness as well. And then we'll run our conversion harness from K-tuned, and then hopefully if everything goes right, we can get a first time start. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this charge harness on, and then getting the manifold on back together with the block off plate or block off vacuum port. And then we'll go ahead and start running our engine harness, so I'll show you guys that. And we're gonna go ahead and install the fuel pump back in. So we're gonna go ahead and knock that out real quick, and then we'll come back. Alright, so now that we're back, we can go over everything that I've done so far. I almost got the car ready to start, but let's go over what we did. So I got the manifold put back on with the block off on the little valve port. I put the RSX Type S engine harness on here. So I'm just gonna rewrap this all up. Most of the connectors are all connected except for the charge harness right here. I just have the starter connected right now because I just want to get this thing started real quick to see how it sounds. So other than that, this is the 05 to 06, and we're running an 02 to 04 engine harness, so the plug is going to be slightly different. So I'm going to probably have to cut the speed sensor plug off the TSX one and then rewire it, and most likely gonna have to do a speed converter, so we'll go over that later. But anyways, I got the radiator all tabs all redone. Johnny went ahead and knocked that out. And then I also went ahead and started connecting the conversion harness. So the conversion harness connects to this plug right here, kind of just like on my hatch video, how I took this side plug and shot everything to the other side for power and signals of oil pressure, check engine light, etc. So I started with that. So let me show you where the rest of it goes. Alright, so this is your engine harness right here, these 3 plugs, and then your conversion harness is going to take your C101 plug, and then it's going to give you an E plug for all your outputs. And then this harness came with both two sensor plugs, primary and secondary. And then the other part just plugs into this right here, which gives you like your check engine light actually, and a couple other things. Like I said, if you want to check out my other video to get the actual wiring diagram for those wires, you can check that out. So right now we'd just rather take these 3 plugs right here. We're gonna plug those into the ECU, and we should be able to go ahead and get a start. Also wanted to show you guys the fuel system since it is all ready, so if anybody has any questions. So what I did was take the primary feed, fed it to a fuel filter just like it was stock, and then I fed it to the port right here, and then this port right here comes out and feeds to your fuel rail, which is going to feed the motor, and then the rest is just going to return back to your return pressure line just like factory from B series or D series. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple setup. I also put the throttle body on, I forgot to tell you guys that, and the throttle body spacer. So there's actually the studs that stick out of the actual manifold. You're gonna have to take those out, and in order for it to fit the bolts they supply with you into that. So just want to let you guys know that. Other than that, we got a ground right here for the engine harness, that which is the last ground that you need to get the motor started. So we have our other grounds already done: tranny, intake manifold, and side cover. So right now we're gonna go ahead and install the ECU real quick. I have to put some gas in it as well because it is on empty, and we'll see if we can get this thing to start over. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. All right, so now we're about ready. I just added some fuel and checked my fuel pressure, make sure we have no leaks, and making sure everything is good to start up. I also added the crank sensor. I changed that out to the K21 down there, in case I didn't mention that before. So you want to use the base model RSX or Type S, or you can use the EP3 FG2 FA5 model sensor, crank sensor, which is 02 to 2011. Those will all work as far as the K20 crank sensor. Also wanted to show you the wires that we still have to run, but it won't affect starting up the car. So what was left in the wiring was, you got your coolant temperature, which I just added that sensor on the intake manifold. Our charge light is going to go to B10. So B10 is going to be this blue or white blue wire. You're going to use a T-tap. That's going to tell you if your alternator or your battery is going out. That'll let you know that's your basically your signal. And then we got fan switch. On this one, we're probably just gonna ground, and the fan will just stay on as soon as you turn the ignition on. You can also put it onto a fan switch as well if you want to wire it that way. It's up to you. And the rest is just bolt on. The other thing is just your DLC plug, which I can show you how to wire on my other videos, and then O2 sensor. So it's a pretty simple setup right there. So now that we got fuel pressure, all our grounds, I think we're ready for a start. So I haven't attempted to start the car yet, so let me go ahead and restart that. And let's see. First time crank, first time start. Still gonna put the intake manifold or intake air temperature sensor on. Still do a couple other things. I just wanted to see it actually start up and everything. I gotta change out the tune and everything because I deleted the idle air control valve. And then I'm sure we got a leak right here too. Yeah, so I gotta change that out. This was actually broken and stuff, but yeah, as you can see, it started first try like nothing. So I mean, we knew the motor was good. We already obviously seen that motor run inside the TSX. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. So I mean, the next video we'll be going over the exhaust. J5 will be putting on, we'll be putting a 3-inch exhaust on here. He kind of already started. He'll probably finish that tomorrow or whatever. And then we got to finish up just wiring up the alternator wire, which I'll be doing next video. put the intake on here, and then we'll put our temperature sensor on here as well. Start finishing up everything. Run our hose right here to right here just to make sure, or maybe block that off, but just the little things. We also got to go over speed sensor as well. Put our fan on, and a couple other things that we just got to finish up to get this car on the road. So like I said, next video you guys will see that. Other than that, if you haven't liked, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification, and make sure you get all my uploads as soon as I upload the videos. And if you need to hit me up, it's K-Serious Works on Instagram. So I'll see you guys next time.